Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Games Embassy with the Ambassadors of Gaming. I am one in your army of hosts, Ambassador Michael,
And I'm Ambassador Jordan.
and welcome to our corner of the internet where we have news about stuff. So, how are you doing today, Jordan? You doing good?
Yeah, can't complain. Just, on day of work, now getting to chill and chat about the latest game news on my buy. It's a good way to end the day at work, or end the day in general, even.
Sounds good. Sounds about right. Less
Oh,
the
yeah.
less existential crisis is the better, you know. So, uh, anyways, so we have a show to do, as you'd expect. And we also have a Patreon where you can do some subscription like stuff where we give you cool perks like early access to shows, getting comments, questions, and or concerns read on the show, and exclusive content. You can go support the show over at patreon.com/ambassadors of gaming. We usually also release a separate show we have that we call group chat. That gets there earlier by a month for patrons. So you can go get that. We just put up the last one for free where Dale and I talked about the best games of the decade. Part 2? Yeah, because we did it 2 parts because it was like an 8-hour episode. It was ridiculous. So, even if you don't want to pay, there's still good content. I think me and you did one a while ago about the ethics of journalism or something like that. We talked about the state
Yeah,
of games journalism. I think that's what it was.
yeah.
So, and that was pretty good too. So that was like our first time doing one of those. But anyways, we have a show to do. So let's get into updates, announcements, and other miscellaneous news. Uh, Unsurprisingly, the coronavirus has started to affect us. Should you be shocked and surprised? Not really. PlayStation, Kojima Productions, and I don't think anybody else, but there may be more, have pulled out of PAX East and GDC over the concerns of the coronavirus. The companies have put out generic statements saying that they have health and safety concerns over the coronavirus and the large groups of people attending the conferences, and thus will not be attending. I'm not sure if you'd seen this, but the mayor of Boston, where PAX East is held, actually was like, "This is a really bad idea. PlayStation should come." And I'm like, I mean, really, you're just trying to get more money. You don't really care about
Yeah.
the conference, but sure. Because I've been to PAX East. That was the only show I've ever been to. I actually drove to Boston to go there, and it's cool. Like it's fine, but like I don't know. I haven't gone back, so like I don't really have an interest in going to trade shows all that much because like
Yeah.
it doesn't really do much for us. Like we could network with people a bit, but honestly, like the cost for it is not worth our while. Like so, but if
Yeah,
that's your
got all the
thing,
pros and the cons, I guess.
yeah, exactly. The only cool thing was I got to play Cuphead before it came out. That was cool.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So, um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. On the small news, we have pretty much three big stories, and then you have all the game announcements and release dates. So, if you want to get into that,
Yeah, so to move on to the game announcements and release dates, basically all the Kingdom Hearts games are now on Xbox. So Kingdom
yay!
Hearts 1.5, 2.5, 2.8 have not been added to the store. So now all the Xbox gamers can be subjected to the absolutely joyful experience of the Kingdom Hearts timeline.
Yeah, right.
So your thoughts on that? Like I've already got it on the PS4. I've got like
Yeah,
I think I've pretty much bought everything, like all the games that have came out so far, like all the packs. I can't see myself going as far as to be buying them on Xbox for any reason, but it's good that it came out on Xbox. I'd say, to be honest.
yeah. I have no real interest in buying them again, but they're also coming to Game Pass. Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming to Game Pass on February 25th. Um, Kingdom
Very good.
Hearts 1.5 and 2.5, 2. Are not in Game Pass, and I don't believe are being added to Game Pass, or are they not? Uh,
I don't think that, but it's
Launched on.
still good that food's getting added.
Yeah, they're not launching on Game Pass, but I don't know. I railed on Square Enix forever for this because I was like, it literally makes no sense for you not to put those collections on Xbox before Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, and then they just didn't. And
Yeah,
and now Kingdom Hearts 3's been out for over a year, and they finally put it out. I'm like, you guys are dumb. Like,
yeah, it would be nice to have it earlier, right? Like give people an insight to the story. You've seen all like the jokes that were going about. There's like Xbox players when they play Kingdom Hearts 3 on it for Kingdom Hearts for the first time, basically. And it's
right.
just like all the different characters and names and that just taking the mick out of it. It's pretty accurate, but at least they're all like at least most of the stories out now on it, so people can dig into it. So it was
Right.
pretty difficult before,
Right.
yes, but
Because you used to just have to watch YouTube videos and Wikipedia, read Wikipedia
yeah,
pages pretty much to get Kingdom Hearts. Now it's like you can play through most of the games, except for the ones that are really bad. Like those, they just turned into movies, basically. But
yeah, I played some of them before, like before the movie state. It was pretty
some of them are
interesting to say the
rough.
least. Yeah.
Dude, Recoded is fucking rough. Like I watched it and I was like, ugh, no, I'm good. That's
Yeah, I played that game in its entirety. It was pretty painful.
Yeah, it looks painful, seeing as how it's basically just Kingdom Hearts 1. Again, that's the third time they've told Kingdom Hearts 1. Like, they did Kingdom
But
Hearts
the
1,
thing,
Chain of Memories, and then that. Like, they're getting,
sure, there was
like,
another one. Sure, there's been a few. Like, yeah, it's like every game that was like
yeah,
in between the main ones is pretty much just a retelling of the first. And it's like, why do this so many times?
right. The only ones that weren't were, well, Birth by Sleep was actually pretty good and had its own
Yeah,
story. And then Dream Drop Distance, I still think, is probably the best in between game. Or
yeah, I
it's
think
my
that too.
favorite. It's part of the reason why I was as disappointed with Kingdom Hearts 3 as I was. Because Dream Drop was really good. And it was on the DS. So I thought, like, for sure it'd be shitty. But it just wasn't. So,
Yeah, I was like pleasantly shocked by it as well, to be honest.
right. I think that's more why Kingdom Hearts 3 was a big disappointment. But anyway, we're going to do that next month. Because they screwed us and they
Yeah,
dropped the DLC for Xbox. And Kevin refuses, apparently didn't buy Kingdom Hearts on PlayStation. He bought it on Xbox like a dick. So now, to do our review, we have to wait a whole nother month, basically. Because it takes forever to beat the DLC and it doesn't do shit, basically. So, anyways, we'll get into that later in the month. You can move forward if you would like.
yeah. So to move on to the next game announcement, Gothic Remake is coming to the PS5. THQ Nordic has announced that the company has made a new studio in Barcelona to remake Gothic for the PS5. I've not actually really looked into the game that much. I've not actually even heard
I
that
haven't
much of it.
either.
Yeah, I was really had to ask what's your exposure to it.
We talked about it when so they put out a teaser on Steam and they're like, look, we want to know if you guys actually want this game or not. If you want it, play this and let us know.
Yeah,
Because we're thinking about making it. We really think we're gonna make it, but if there's not demand for it, we're just gonna scrap it and we're not gonna do it. And I guess enough people played it on Steam where they're like, fuck it, build a whole new studio. So I think that's
yeah.
good,
Fair
honestly.
enough.
THQ is honest. Nordic is seriously the most like transparent out of all the publishers. Like outside of like maybe what's the one that's really kooky? Revolver. What are they called? Something Revolver. Ah, you know what I'm
I've
talking
lost
about.
it.
They're the ones that do all the kooky like almost indie games like Enter the Gungeon and stuff like that. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Anyways, yeah,
Is
that
it
might look
Revolver
good.
Digital? Or am I just thinking of something totally random?
I'm
I'm
sorry.
probably thinking that.
What'd you say? One more time.
Is it a Revolver
Yes.
Digital?
Yeah, that's it. Sorry. Yeah, Revolver
Uh,
Digital. You're correct. That's the one I'm thinking of. Um, yeah, like I don't know. This could be good. It looks like a generic medieval game, so even if it, I don't know, if it drops and there's nothing going on, then whatever. I'm fine with that.
yeah, I need to look into it. Like,
Yeah,
not
exactly.
hearing anything about it before, and that's like, I'll give it a
Pretty,
look and see what's going on with PS5. Especially
pretty much.
considering it's about PS5, because I've not actually looked into too many of like kind of planned release titles or upcoming titles for it, so it would be interesting to check out, I guess.
Right. Sounds good to me. Well, I mean, we'll just have to keep an eye on it. It's gonna be a while, obviously, till it comes out because they just built a studio
Yeah.
to make it, so don't expect it anytime soon. So now we can move on to big news. I guess we can get into the weird, disappointing news. Let's find out how EA has screwed us yet again. Uh,
What a
uh
shock.
yeah. Unsurprisingly, EA has canceled another Star Wars game. And you say, what? I didn't even know they were making another Star Wars game. Yep, that's how EA rolls. They cancel games you don't even fucking know about. So, basically, what happened is they were making a Battlefront spin-off game. And, alright, follow me here. This is where it gets really weird. so,
God.
according to Jason, the company canceled the spin-off game codenamed Viking. The game was intended to be released in time for next-gen systems, so this fall. But apparently, EA had unrealistic time, like a time frame aspect of it, from when they started this project and gave it to them, and when it would actually be done, given that what they wanted from it. So the game was intended to be a spin-off, but with a more focus on like an open world. And
Mm-hmm.
they had Criterion, who makes the Need for Speed games, working on it with EA Vancouver. And apparently the two studios were having difficulties coming to a decision on what the project would look like and what it would be. Criterion had like lofty aspirations, basically to make like, a good game, good open
Mm-hmm.
world game, and so it was going to take a lot of time. And plus, Criterion is in Europe somewhere, I think they said, and EA Vancouver's in Canada. So like, just like you and I, we kind of there was a time zone difference, and so it was kind of a issue for them, I guess. Um,
Yeah.
and on top of that, Criterion wanted to do like big, lofty, stuff devs normally want to do. So basically, the game got canceled because it wasn't going to be able to reach that timeline of fall 2020, uh, indicating that EA really has no interest in pursuing a title like that unless it is to quickly fill a void. So the company now has their focus on making a sequel to Fallen Order and apparently a smaller project by EA Motive. That would be probably a VR game if I have to guess. Um,
Yeah. I'd say
so
likely.
I didn't write it in my notes here, but it's in the article by Jason Schreier. Basically, so Viking is partially from that game that originally started at Visceral. So like they moved the assets from Visceral to um whatever it was, EA Vancouver,
Mm-hmm.
and then from EA Vancouver after they canceled that, they wanted to kind of take those open world aspects from that game and make a Battlefront spin-off, but apparently didn't manage to think about that in enough time for them to develop. I guess they gave it to him like a year ago. So
Yeah.
like they gave them like a year basically to make an open world game, which is totally unfucking realistic. Like that's
Yeah. It's a bit drastic, isn't it?
right. Oh,
Not really
sorry.
in good terms at
Criterion is
all.
in London. They're in London. So yeah, same time difference as you and I, basically. So, anyways, EA keeps shit in the bed with Star Wars. Is basically the point of the story. So
I'd be more shocked if they weren't shit in the bed with it. It's kind of
yeah,
disappointing, isn't it? It's like I know like the Fallen Order was really good and all that, but
right. But we're right back
it'd
to
still be nice to see some other projects come out of it and not just stuff like Battlefront. Like I wasn't a big fan of the Battlefront games that came out so far. I know some people might be, but
right.
like, it would be nice to see stuff like that, but done right or at least done better, in my opinion.
Yeah, they just I don't know. They've kind of just done poorly on all fronts. Now, granted, don't get me wrong. Apparently, Battlefront 2 is good now, but like it shouldn't be good 2 years after. It should just be good when it comes out and get better. I,
Yeah, I was gonna say
like
that's the key word now. It's like it should be good
yeah,
now. It should have been good from the
yeah.
get go.
So I don't.
Definitely.
I have problems with the way EA's handled this, and honestly, like it tends to be that when EA executives keep their hands off of projects, they tend to do better. So we'll see how that goes. But anyways, yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much it on this one. Unless you have anything else you really wanna go into other than derailing
No, that's fine.
EA. Oh, look at that! I just totally fucked our frame. Good job. OBS is a real bitch, ain't it? Anyways, you can
Classic.
take
Yes.
us to sweaty hands. Let's talk about sweaty hands.
Okay, so a new patent has been filed for, well, by Sony for the PlayStation controller that wants to track your heart rate and sweaty hands. Patent shows that the sensors for these could indicate a way to automatically raise or lower difficulty. This has been a feature repeated 3 times in some patents as of late. It's quite an interesting one, like that whole this automatically raise or lower difficulty. There's
Right.
also like if your heart rate's going up and all that, and you're getting scared of that in a horror game, is it going to then be able to? Well, I guess the situation in my head I'm thinking of right now is imagine like Alien Isolation. You're
Right.
getting chased by a character, but then if your heart rate's going up too much, if that makes sense, and then it lower like by lowering the difficulty, it might make the enemy less aggressive. That would be pretty cool. But at the same time, it's like you'd want like almost you'd think it would be the opposite. If your heart
Right.
rate's going up, it'd make the game spike in difficulty.
Well,
But I guess it does say that, I guess, raise or lower. So it could be an interesting dynamic to see how that plays out in games.
right. Well, my first thought was that, like, for example, I think the people who would utilize this the best would probably be like From. You know what I mean? Like, because the thing about From
Yeah.
Software games is they have those little lulls where nothing happens and you know something's about to jump out and fuck you. Like, so like
You know what's coming.
it could basically trigger on your heartbeat. And so if you're somebody who's like more calm, maybe that just never triggers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if you're like freaking out, then it does, or vice versa, or whatever. You know what I mean? I definitely
I think
think.
it, like
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you think it would detect like if you're overly like it sounds silly, but if you're like, really relaxed on like
Yeah.
a horror game or that, and it could actually be like what you're saying, like is when it triggers you to do something that would scare you more, or be more likely to scare you based on how relaxed you are. And that'd be
Right.
pretty. It'd be weird.
Well, it could
Be pretty
do
interesting though.
it could do weird stuff where like I don't know, you're like if you're relaxed and you're running away from something, um,
Yeah.
you're fine. But like if you're freaking out and your heart rate's really high and you're running, like maybe you like trip and fall or like you drop your gun or something. You know what I mean? They could do cool stuff like
Yeah.
that because like you're nervous. That's what you would do in a situation where you were nervous. Like you could like
Yeah.
freak out.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know. A lot of the leaks we've seen from the patents seem to be that Sony's focusing really on just making sure that like you're getting like weird and super intricate experiences when you play. Like that seems to be the
Yeah.
focus this time around. So like kind of gimmicky shit, but gimmicky shit that would actually improve like your experience. So, which I'm for if it actually does. But at the same point, like none of this is confirmed. So, you know, we'll just have to
Yeah.
see.
Be interesting to see what comes of it, if anything.
Right.
I just
So
I'd love to see how it would work well for games. But yeah.
yeah, for sure. I think we'll honestly like I mean we'll talk about it more here in a minute, but like
Yeah.
Sony's got a lot of stuff that they haven't talked about or explained or anything yet, and we're, you know, how far away? Like, it's PS5's launching in November. We're 9 months away, and we don't know anything about it really. Like we know some
Yeah.
stuff, but like we don't know much. We know that it has a solid state, and it loads really quick, but you know that from a solid state, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll have to just wait and see. But yeah, this is I don't know. This kind of stuff is cool as long as my controller doesn't cost $100 fucking. You know?
God, here's something that doesn't.
Yeah.
That's, like, I know sometimes the controllers it's worth investing in a good one, but it's pretty painful paying that much for a controller. Even
Right.
like the elites and all that, and like the fancier like high tier controllers, I just can't justify it sometimes.
Yeah, I feel that. My Elite controller actually lasted me about 2 years now. The grips are starting to go, and unfortunately, apparently, I broke the left D-pad button. So
Oh,
like,
God.
yeah, it just like doesn't register anymore. I just figured that out this week. But like the PS4 controllers are pretty durable. I've had one, two, three. I'm on my fourth and third one. So I've had
Mhm.
no, that's not true. One, two, three, four. I've had five total that I've actually opened and used. I have two in the box because I have the 20th anniversary and I have that 500 million one that like translucent
Yeah.
blue. But yeah, I have two. I have the rose gold right now and I have the black, the regular black one. And they last me like a pretty long time. Whereas like my standard Xbox controllers feel really cheap and crappy. So like once I bought the Elite, I just never stopped using my Elite controller.
Yeah, I had
So
one of the elites, and then it was faulty, I think, or it just wasn't.
yeah,
I can't really recall what it was, but it just didn't work the way I expected, and that did put me off. And I noticed as well, like, see, when I got the Xbox Digital, just a comment on the cheap controller, like, you can feel the difference with that controller compared to even the standard Xbox One X controller.
right.
It just feels a lot hollower, and it just feels cheap. It sounds weird, but
Yeah,
it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel nice, even though it's
that's
pretty much the same build and shape.
right.
It's strange.
That's my big problem with the standard Xbox controllers. Like I have so I got the Scorpio edition for my X, and it came with
Yeah.
like a special edition Scorpio controller, and it feels cheap as fuck. Like it feels super hollow and plasticky. Like it creaks when I pick it up, and I'm like, man,
That's annoying.
come on, man. It's not even like I can go buy another one of these. Like I can't.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and even if I do, they're gonna be expensive. So like I've just not really used it. Like I have it. I used it for a bit when I first got my Xbox, but ever since I got my Elite controller, it's just sat. So, but anyways, yeah, we'll just have to see. Controllers are a weird part of gaming that's like everybody's really finicky about, but it's not something we talk much about leading up to next gen. So I'm really interested to see how that all works, because I think Microsoft's pretty much at the point where Series 2 for the Elite controller will hold them over for a little while. So I doubt there's any real reason to get a Series 3 out before next gen. So, But that'll be
And it
nice.
seems you've seen they're letting you carry over all your accessories as well.
Yeah.
So I know the new controllers you get now. That's pretty
Yeah, well, if you spend
neat.
fucking $200 on a controller, you better be able to use it.
Exactly.
I'd be pissed. Um, but yeah, so like we can move on to our last story, which is the bigot, excuse me, of the week. So basically, Phil Spencer on Monday morning decided he was gonna drop some big Xbox Series X news on us. And so we're gonna condense on this article that I have up, but so let me run through it real quick for you. Basically, in the blog post, Spencer went on to detail some of the things we can look forward to with the Series X. Noticeably, he mentions the 12 teraflops, twice that of the Xbox One X, 4 times that of the Xbox One, the original. Variable rate shading, hardware accelerated DirectX ray tracing, quick resume for multiple games, that's the suspend and resume that we have right now, and smart delivery. So there's a lot of technical jargon in there, but we want to break that down, obviously, and let's talk about what that really means for us. So based on what he's saying, variable rate shading and what that means is that developers can specifically select items, characters, or environmental items to focus effects on, and apparently that will provide a better frame rate and higher resolution without sacrificing the quality of the image. So, for example, reflective surfaces, they could specifically select a mirror or something like that, water or something. Um,
Hmm.
Hardware accelerated ray tracing refers to the lighting, reflections, and sound, and should be more accurate, allowing developers to do a lot more with ray tracing. Um, I, we'll get into this in a second, but I think I'll need you to elaborate on that if you're more familiar than I am. Smart delivery is basically Xbox's branded version of cross-buy. Basically, for all first-party titles and developer titles, if they choose to do so, they'll sell you one copy of the game, and you'll basically receive it on Xbox One and Series X. Now, that won't mean that it's the same game. You'll get the Series X version of that game. So if there's improvements, enhancements, anything made to that game, you'll get it on both systems.
Yeah,
Meaning
it's
that
pretty good.
yeah, it's a really really good. It's probably like the best thing they announced today. Meaning that when you upgrade to a Series X from Xbox One, all those games will automatically be upgraded to those new versions, not just enhanced. So like I know that enhanced and upgraded may seem synonymous, but in this situation they're not. It's like the difference between PS3 and PS4. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
so. Anyways, real quick before we like break everything in down here and we talk in here, are you familiar with ray tracing? Because I'm not too familiar with it. We've talked about it a handful of times, but it's like a big PC buzzword.
I'm not overly familiar with the technicalities behind it all. I know like a little, but not a
Sure.
great deal.
I was just curious because I'm not, like I said, I'm not super familiar with it. Let me take a look
Yeah.
here. Ray tracing is a render technique that can produce incredibly realistic lighting effects. Essentially, an algorithm can trace the path of light and then simulate the way that the light interacts with the virtual objects it ultimately hits in the computer-generated world. So what it sounds like to me is it sounds like an algorithmic version of Spider-Man PS4's lighting. I don't know if you and I discussed it, but basically they had to come up with whole physics formulas to do the lighting in Spider-Man's PS4, like to get the lighting to look realistic. Because
Yeah.
out of all the games I've played so far, that game probably does have actually the best lighting in any game I've played. Like the lighting is just really good all over the place all the time. So like if every game can look like that, because that was the big difference to me. Like I know textures in this generation were a lot better, but they seemed a lot more
Yeah.
subtle. The lighting really helped those textures pop, in my opinion. Like the addition of being able to control lighting this gen really is what made textures look great. So, but yeah, so there's a lot of shit in here basically, um, and again they're getting out ahead of PS5. So what do you think about all this?
Guess the bits that I'm liking more, also the smart delivery stuff's pretty cool. Kind of gets me thinking. It feels like so when you're buying, like one thing I like about it, I guess, or what I like about it the most is that it gives that opportunity for people that aren't quite ready to upgrade to still buy the games and then
Right.
feel reassured that they're not going to have to re-buy them again as soon as they get a new console. Because in my head, if it's not like, even though it's next gen or whatever, it still doesn't feel like it's a leap. I don't know why. Just in my head, it still just feels like it's like another version of the Xbox One X.
Right.
That makes sense. I
Yeah,
know it's
yeah.
not, but
So that
unless like all the branding's totally different for like the cases and that, it's still going to feel like it is to me.
Right.
So
Because I don't.
yeah, it's very weird.
I'd have to see the OS, but I'm gonna take a wild guess and say it probably looks pretty similar to Xbox One. I can't
Yeah,
imagine it looks too different because Microsoft seems to be focusing on kind of creating like that more seamless ecosystem between Windows and Xbox, and kind of having the same sort of ecosystem with it. So
yeah,
yeah, I kind of agree because even if you look at the controller's pretty similar.
yeah.
Um,
It's just another iteration.
right.
Kind of hoping. I know it's a different topic, but I'm hoping the PS5 looks totally different, or it's like it has more to it. But that's another topic, I guess.
Right. The PS4 is just 4 stacks instead of 3.
Yeah,
um, but anyways, yeah. So I totally get where you're coming from. And I think that's like the big problem a lot of people are gonna have. I think with Xbox fans, they're kind of ready to ditch Xbox One. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but in terms of like, I don't know, Xbox One has gotten shit on basically the whole generation, right? So like Xbox as a brand is ready to kind of move past that. Um,
yeah.
actually, unrelated, but I'm working on it now. I'm almost done. I'm probably gonna finish it tonight. Actually, I'm working on a video about basically the Xbox One and Phil Spencer, and to
Hmm.
to kind of summarize that a bit, so I don't spoil the entire thing. But basically, there were a lot of fuck ups that happened before Xbox One that Phil Spencer's been trying to like kind of lay down the groundwork for this, and like so this is the culmination of everything that team was working on, like to fix Xbox One and then move forward. And I think this will probably give them that full control, and I feel like that's kind of what Xbox fans are looking for too.
Yeah,
Because we all thought like mid-generation upgrades were going to be stupid and terrible, and they've actually worked out quite well for both companies. So in terms of sales, so yeah, Sony's big problem is that nobody's going to want to ditch their PS4. Like most people are already happy with their PS4s, and a lot of people are happy with their Xbox.
yeah,
I actually know a ton of people that just recently bought Xboxes within like the last year. So like they're not gonna be ready to upgrade. They just bought a new system. They don't want to,
yeah.
you know.
Exactly.
So whereas like you and I'm sure we've been invested in the ecosystem for quite some time now. So like I'm ready to upgrade, but at the same point,
Yeah,
I am pretty happy with my Xbox One X, and I'm pretty happy with my Pro for the most part. Uh, I have grievances with it. I mean, I'm gonna get rid of my Pro from my PS5 because I got like a Lemon Pro, so like it just fucks up a bunch, and it's just really annoying.
yeah,
Um, but otherwise, I'm like pretty happy with both my systems, and honestly, yeah, for a lot of people though, it is gonna be a problem. So like stuff like this is like, okay, we understand you're not ready, and we're not pulling the plug on you yet, but when you're ready, your stuff will be there. So
yeah.
I
It's
think
it's a very nice little feature, to be honest.
right. They just Xbox seems to keep consistently coming back to the idea of um that play anywhere mentality. Like
Yeah,
because with this, not only are you getting those like when you go to and I could be wrong, but I'm going to take a wild guess and say that probably all the first party games eventually get Xbox Series X enhanced. You know what I mean? Um
yeah,
and those are going to be on Game Pass. So when you go to get your Xbox Series X, you have Game Pass. You get it day one, and you just have a shitload of games to play, and they're all going to play really
exactly.
good because most of them are last gen. So, like, that's exciting. I think that's an exciting proposition that Sony doesn't have. Like, I buy PS5. What do I have? All my old PS4 games I already bought, and that's it. Like, you know,
Yeah, exactly. It'll be interesting to see what they do to try to counter it.
right?
I guess. See, another thing on this that's interesting is the quick resume for multiple games.
Yeah,
It's just I've been thinking about it for a while now. I always wonder one thing, like even though I use the feature just now, obviously mostly it's not intentional; it just happens by accident.
right.
I always wondered that if you're playing like an RPG game and that happens, do you think it stops the timer? That's something. It might be a really obvious question, but I've always wondered. I always feel like it doesn't. So even if it's quick resumed, I'll still load my save again, just in case the timer has been constantly running.
Yeah, it
If that makes
depends.
any sense.
Depends on the game. So I'll give you an example.
Yeah,
Some games do that on Switch as well. When you put your Switch in sleep mode, if your game's
yeah,
running in the background, the timer will still go. So like the Digimon games on Switch, the RPG
mm.
ones, Digimon Story, their timers will run when your game is in sleep mode. Um,
It's
so
annoying.
yeah, it just depends, I guess, on the game and how it's developed. Personally, I don't really care about timers all that much. I know like a lot of people do, but on my first run of a game, I don't really care. Um, but yeah, I think that's one of my biggest things. But one of the issues I have with suspend and resume is that because like big AAA developers make everything online, it becomes basically useless because I have to re-sign in every time I go back to the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
it's
like,
annoying.
if you're playing Call of Duty with your friends, right, and you're like, or before, like you were playing Call of Duty with your friends the night before, but now you're playing Witcher 3, and your daughter and you wanted to play like whatever, I don't know, a party game or something. You got all three games, right? They're all three running at the
Yeah,
same time. So you and your daughter are done playing. You go back, you play some Witcher 3. Your friends want to hop on and play Modern Warfare. You go back to Modern Warfare, and you still have to sign in. You still have to sign back into the servers. So you're not saving yourself that much time. Like you're saving
yeah,
yourself like literally like 2 minutes at most. Like that's my only concern is that like suspended resume is great, but it's fucking dumb for multiplayer games because sometimes it won't even sign you back in. You have to completely exit
yeah.
the app for it to sign you back in. So that's the thing is that it seems like hardware manufacturers and OS seem to have one idea of what they want to do and build features for, and then AAA developers are like, "Fuck you, this is what we're doing instead." Like, you know,
Yeah.
well, like all the Ubisoft games require you to be online now, don't they?
Thanks to it, yeah, for sure.
So I mean, what it's gonna have to keep you signed in to Ubisoft servers online all times to fucking go back to the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's gonna eat your internet up. Not by a lot. Like it'll probably be a couple megs, you know what I mean, an hour or something, but it'll still eat up your
Mm-hmm.
internet. So
Yeah,
I'd be
exactly. That's
very
true.
interested to hear how they work that all out. But but that's a problem PlayStation's gonna have too, because they've said the same thing that they're gonna do multiple suspend and resume and all that with the because of the SSD. So, but anyways, do you have anything left you want to say on that? There's quite a lot, but there's not enough to really like go for a super long time. So
Yeah.
I think we've. I just don't want to go in circles. I'm not trying to spend
Yeah.
20 minutes chomping at the same bit, you know. So
That makes sense.
all right, well then I guess we'll wrap it up there. I'm not sure anybody was even watching the stream to be honest. Short stream. Didn't actually even post it on social. I probably should have done that, but we were just trying to get the show done. Uh, so, anyways,
I'll always be there to watch later.
yeah, fair enough. So if you didn't catch the stream, you can catch the streams. We're doing them on Sunday, Monday, depending on when we record the show. And then we're putting them up pretty much right after. So if you want to catch that, you can do so on all of our stuff. We're on Patreon, we're on SoundCloud, we're on Google Play, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. Am I missing anything? I think we're on all like. I think you can go pretty much anywhere that has RSS feeds and find us. We're on most of the major stuff. So, but that's pretty much it. So you can try to check us out at least once a week. That is how often we try to do this show, and you might like what you find. I am Ambassador Michael,
And I am Ambassador John.
and thank you very much for joining us today, and we will see you next time. Goodbye, friends.
See you later.